Hi, my name is Alex. This is my co host Josh, and we make up two-thirds of Cinema Corner. Today we are reviewing Alien Romulus. It's been a hot minute for me. Josh, I don't know when you watched it, but.
Watched it about a few weeks after it came out.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but this movie was a surprise hit for me. It also was the first Alien movie I've seen, so I get to bring that perspective in. I don't know if you've seen all the Alien movies or not, but
I've
this
seen
was the first one.
And
Okay, yeah.
Covenant.
Yeah, this was the first one I've seen. I now have seen a few more after, so. But at least I bring that perspective in. I'm just a fresh first-time viewer, just a horror movie fan. And for me, it was definitely an overwhelming hit for many reasons. But the first thing I want to kind of go into is that about kind of the budget and what it's already made so far, because this has surprised me considering the fact it seems like overall has been a hit for everybody. Because I know TikTok was loving the film, besides a few controversial things. But the movie has only made, I mean, I say only, it's still a good hit, is $285 million on an 80 mil budget worldwide. However, that's really close to Ridley Scott's like Prometheus and Covenant, and those two are highly controversial and hated on. So I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't made more, because I looked up the numbers, because Prometheus made 405 million, and I've recently seen that one. That one's pretty good. And in Covenant, which is the one that everyone says is ass, made 240.
Yeah.
With a similar budget to Alien Romulus. It had a 97 mil budget versus Romulus at 80. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I thought that was a bit surprising, seeing the fact that those two are kind of hated on, and this one seems to be loved by both sides of the field of OG Alien fans and the ones of Ridley Scott. And it really hasn't made that crazy much.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it also has to do with it being kind of more of like horror, and not a lot of people are that much into horror movies in general. Don't really make money like that. And you also have to, it's rated R too, so it's like it's R, it's horror, it's an alien movie. Maybe people aren't really going out to watch this movie like that. I don't know. It's one of those things where I also don't understand. Like this movie was loved. Like another good example, Fall Guy. A lot of ads for it. They had similar stuff on their red carpet where they had like stunt guys doing their thing, and in this film in this movie they had the face hugger on people. So it's like there was definitely hype and people loved both films, but the budget to like box office ratio just wasn't there. So I definitely don't know what it is about this film in particular. So this, I guess for context, this takes place between the first Alien and the second one.
Yep.
Yeah, so this takes place like in that time gap between Ripley being in like cryosleep, basically. And I mean, right off the bat, it's shot very well. You can tell that Fede Álvarez, who's done a bunch of horror movies before, he has a love for this franchise, and he definitely wanted to bring it back to that like horror route, and he definitely implemented a lot of that. I thought that the kills were some of the fucking goriest. I mean, that I can remember in the franchise.
Yeah, it was also a nice use of gore too. Like it made it more of an intense, thrilling moment instead of just being gory to be gory.
Right. Like it had the violence with the purpose. And the characters, I feel like minus the one guy that I didn't care for, I think I actually cared about the characters the most since like probably the original, I would say. Definitely the main lead.
Rain. She was pretty
Rain. She was good. I would say the android Andy was probably the highlight of the film. He was in, like he literally played two different characters, because from that first third of the film, you get introduced to this Andy character who was definitely like the guardian angel to Rain, but he can't really stand up for himself, so he's kind of like this, chill guy who's just doing what he needs to please Rain. And then at a certain point in the film, he gets this new chip in him, and it's just, you can tell immediately he just flips. He's just, while they're in that like face hugger lab thing, he's just like down, and the minute he wakes up and saves the guy from the face hugger, you're like, okay, this is not the same Andy. Yeah, and like definitely them playing with that whole, is Andy there still, or is this someone new? Definitely played into like the thriller aspect, because you don't know who's like who he has priority for. Like his priority is no longer
who's in control of the wheel, basically.
Right, like who's in control, and who is he gonna put in harm's way in order to meet his goal or meet Rain's goal. So I like that they played with that whole thing, on top of obviously the alien being born, and then now they're multiplying, and now they're on the ship. I mean, I think like the only thing that I would say is like some of the things that I wasn't quite sure about was how fast everything kind of happened. And I get it, with this like shorter runtime, you were kind of like, you kind of went into it knowing.
Okay, what speed? Just overall story, or like the face huggers? That was one of the controversial things. Yes.
The face huggers. I felt like that was way too quick. Like it happened, and then like he said, oh, the probability was like set at 70-30 or whatever it was. Yeah. And then so here's immediately after
is that I think they were enhanced face huggers that was already basically ready to breed instantly, because they were trying to evolve humans. Because they were all in there, and everything that was there was basically bred and modified. So I think it was an enhanced version, but also I know their reasoning for it is that they basically said, oh, Ridley Scott approved that. And that was it. That was the reasoning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they asked him. Yep. And he was like, yeah, I'm cool with it being faster. Yep.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I feel like if they would have drawn it out like a tiny bit more, I feel like it would have just only like enhanced it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I get it for the context of the film. They wanted to kind of get to the point where you finally get the full xenomorph. But
I think if they just said it was an evolved face hugger, it would have been a little better. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, and I thinking about it now, they weren't in those little eggs how they usually are.
They were in like incubators.
They were in that like containment kind of. Mm-hmm. They were frozen. So I get it. So they might be slightly modified, but still, I think it would have been nice. It would have added just to the more tense moments of the film. Just make it be like, at what point is this chest burster about to like burst out?
Yeah.
But with that, and it was in a trailer, which I'm kind of mad about, but I did like how they used like the thermal light. I want to say is what they called it, but it's basically like the X-ray
scanning
thing, where she starts to put it like on her back, and you can see it happening in her body before it actually like starts to like burst out of her chest. I thought that use of that tool was unique, which I don't think they've used before. So I thought that was a pretty cool thing that they introduced into this film, but yeah, I mean, what are some of your, I guess, negatives, if you had any?
I think one of the negatives was that it did seem to go a little fast towards the end. As well as, I think my final negative would be, we haven't touched on, was the final humanoid like mixture at the end getting kind of eliminated. I would really have loved to see maybe that escape in some regard, and hopes of a potential sequel. They definitely played this movie safe, of saying that this can hold on its own, of no risk of it needing a sequel. But I think what was nice about this film is after watching the OG Alien movie, as well as watching now Ridley Scott's new kind of trilogy that he was trying to do, but he never did a third one, of Prometheus and Covenant, is it played to both of those films. So it really unifies the timeline, canon, nerdy shit, basically. Because my favorite part of what Ridley Scott was trying to do in his new 2 films was like actually kind of making a story more about AI's control and them being the top dog, and then using the aliens to their advantage instead of humans. And you see AI is like the biggest part of this story is the androids.
Yeah.
You got Ash being basically the slave to the company, and then you got Andy as well, the good side, which was also portrayed in Covenant, where David was the evil one, and I forgot what the name of the other guy was. Walter. Yeah, where he was like enhanced one, where he does the good for basically humanity and tries to beat him, while David is a full freed AI on his own. I thought it was cool. I really enjoyed that. And also it stayed to its strength of the Alien franchise of using practical effects with a hint of CGI. I mean, literally recruiting a 7'7" basketball player of Bob Rosiski, I believe is how you say his last name. Not too sure. Either way, but to make him a full 7'7" to play the humanoid at the end is nuts work. It looked fantastic, and seeing the behind the scenes shots too of him in there is insane. So that was great. I think everything throughout the film was shot well. The beginning scenes, I gotta say, gave me that Blade Runner-esque feel, which, by the way,
I knew it. I knew
there's a connection. That. There's a connection technically to the franchises with Blade Runner. There's a small mention of the company. All right, I forget the company's name for Alien, but there's a mention of it. Which, I mean, I'm just saying, it's possible.
Tech.
It's possible. Just saying. Technically, they could connect. Even though it was really just more of a honorable mention. Especially since they're shifting the story to AI. Oh, whatever. Anyways, I mean, we're talking about, I love the fact that the gory scenes were more to enhance the thrill. And this felt like definitely the scariest movie of the Alien franchise. Obviously, the OG ones have aged for someone like us to watch it now. But compared to Prometheus and Covenant, I mean, this one had horror. It was a horror film. It was a straight-up thriller, horror slasher. And it was good. You felt the power of the xenomorph. Love the scenes. I love too where like it was so detailed, even you can see him when she says, "Wait, do you see that?" and sees it on like the door camera where he's just in the corner, and you could see it from any distance till they even zoomed in on it. That was great. As well as the logic of how the characters reacting too, like the fact that Andy didn't open the damn door was great. Love the fact that it didn't go to a cheesy ending of, oh, maybe the chip gets override there. No, straight up, we just saw her just get got. Two, it not really being forgiving to any character. There was no plot armor, I would say. Like, I think they giving Rain, you know, the auto-targeting gun definitely helped of like, how do we get a character to even survive any scene? That helped. It worked. I mean, I will say a little bit the ammo was lasting a bit long in the end of that scene, especially since they're saying, oh, you're at 10%, and that 10% felt like it lasted for 50%. Either way, it was a cool looking scene, and them moving through the acid blood was pretty dope as well. Otherwise, I just think it was really cool after trying to get into the timeline of these movies. I think it did a great job holding the ground to allowing both what really Scott was trying to do to still continue if he ever does do that third film. It didn't break anything. It just kind of built upon it since it brought back Ash, as well as introducing possibly a new storyline to continue with the fact that they still had the prototype blood to try to evolve people. Who knows? I really hope there is a sequel to this, but it seems like with this franchise, even if the movie makes money, it just can get shot down.
Yeah, that's, I don't know. It's just this franchise in general. But I would say one of the coolest shots was not knowing what the final alien was going to look like, and then it just pop up in the corner, and it's just like, in this like animalistic stance, all of a sudden it starts to kind of like stand up in a more humanoid form. It's
Mm-hmm.
like some pretty fucked up shit there. It was like it was
That scene
weird
was
looking.
a scene. Ugh, it was
Yeah,
brutal.
yeah, yeah. But then I saw something where the director kind of like shot this idea to the studio, and they were like, "Nah, I think that's too much." But then he's like, "That's the reason why he wanted to do it because he felt like it was they needed that." And he also thought that it was like a little like kind of like Easter egg to like the face and how like the engineers look is they're
Mm-hmm.
very similar in like structure of the face. Maybe not quite the body, but you can see how he was trying to connect certain lines here and there from both the OG franchise or the OG trilogy to like the newer ones in
Mm-hmm.
Prometheus and Covenant. But um, yeah, I really enjoyed the film. Um, in terms of a score, I would probably give it like a 8.8. You know, I'm confident in giving it an 8.8.
Wow. Yeah,
What about you?
I would give it a strong I give it a strong 8.2 out of 10. That was pretty
Okay.
solid. I think that's a good rating. I think maybe if there's just a few, I don't know, maybe just if I knew that it was leading to more, I think that would have really helped it for me. I think it's just more salty about the fact that you got a great story and
There's
it's
a good
probably
chance
going to
that it
lead to
ends.
nothing. Yeah, and that's what's tough. It's
Hmm.
tough. Also, I think the
Yeah.
CGI a little bit. Sometimes when they did use it, was a little rough. Like doing the face de aging for Ash. Some scenes was kind of hard, but yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, but still, I thought it was a good film and cool little tidbit here. I didn't know this, and I texted you this. So my supervisor, she her husband is first cousins with Cailee Spaeny, who is the main actress in this film. So the more you know,
Look at
you
that!
know,
Look at
small
that! We
small
got
world. I was
connections.
like literally like the 2 days before I watched the film, and then 2 days later I learned that she's related to them. So I was like, all right, cool. Did not know that, but yeah, that's our review for Alien Romulus. If you guys have any thoughts, ideas into what possibly they could do it with this potential sequel, if it ever happens, leave it down below in the comments. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.